You're listening to the Scarf Bagara War, part of the Talksport Fan Network, and charity partners with Mentel, for county fans, by county fans.
Good evening and welcome to episode 23 of this season's Courtyard Club Call. I am Jimmy Harmer and I am joined as ever by Dan Culverwell. Hi, Dan.
Evening.
So we are going to be talking about the 3-1 victory over Brackley in the second round of the FA Cup, which puts us in the hat. So we're recording this on Sunday evening, so puts us in the hat for the third round draw, the one that we always wait for when we get through from the second round. And we've got our fingers crossed, haven't we, Dan? We're hoping for a biggie.
Yeah, it's BBC 2 on Monday at 7 p.m, the draw. County at ball number 57 out of 64 balls. And if you want a Championship club or a Premier League club, then any number that's 44 and below are them teams. So yeah, I'm hoping for a big tie. I know Dave Challoner said that he'd love Liverpool, being a big Liverpool fan. For me, a proper Premier League club, away trip to Tottenham, or that last FA Cup tie for Everton.
I'd quite like to get to the fourth round though, so I'd take Man City at the moment. To be fair, just as like a guaranteed win.
Well, yeah, not going to say much about that. Really,
7 games and they've not won.
It's Dave
funny.
Challoner said in his interview that he was off to watch Liverpool play on Sunday against Man City, and some of the way they sort of moved the ball about quickly and passed it through the lines, Liverpool, them boys on Monday for training should be a bit worried, because I think he'll have some ideas of what he wants to be doing.
Extra training drills, probably. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so we'll talk about the Brackley win. We'll talk about the Birmingham game. So preview for that. There won't be a pod on Wednesday because we're all going to be there, basically. So Russ is going to be recording that and putting that out live Thursday evening, 8 p.m. And then we also have a little bit of a transfer rumour, I think, as well. I know Russ sort of touched on it last week. But a little birdie I heard at the club, a little source at the club, it looks like that is going to go through. So we'll talk about that at the end of the pod. So let's talk about the Brackley win, Dan. So do you want to bring up the team and we'll go through that?
Yeah. So I mean, if anybody managed to get 11 out of 11, then you're obviously waking up alongside Dave Challoner in the morning, because I don't think any of us really had a go at it. Plus, obviously, to mention the 4 players that were sick or ill during the week and not managed to train.
Do we know who they were? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Sam Hughes, Louis Barry,
Bate.
I'm trying to think now off the top of my head. Sam Hughes, Louis Barry, Lewis Bate, and Jack Diamond all missed out through illness.
Okay.
So yeah, I would expected at least Jack Diamond and Sam Hughes to have got in that starting 11 for that cup game. He says that they all are feeling a lot better, but they didn't go back to training until the end of the week, so that's why they missed out on the game. But they should all be fit and raring to go for Wednesday. And I think they said all them 4 actually did some training at Carrington on the Saturday morning before the game as well. So hopefully, like I say, it's not a big thing. Obviously, the lads went away to Dublin after the Burton game, so it might have been something they've picked up over in Ireland or on the air flight back, as you always seem to do, pick up the bugs when you're stuck in a plane full of ill people. So yeah, hopefully it's nothing major, and they're fit and raring to go on Wednesday. But for this lineup, we started off with Corey Adai in goal. I couldn't really work out I listened to the game on the radio with John Kieran. I couldn't really make out what sort of formation we had.
Do you want me to go through the team then? Because I was there, mate. So
yeah, I've sort of gone for a back 3, but I don't know if it was actually that or not.
Yeah, it was spot on. So yeah, you're right. Adai in nets, Connolly, Horsefall and Pye, and then Southern Hales as a right wing back, Torre as a left wing back, Norwood and Camps in midfield, and then it was two sort of attacking midfielders in front of them, Bailey and Collar, with Wootton leading the line, and it was a really good start. I mean, we looked excellent. So that first half, we absolutely bossed it. So we scored on 15 minutes. Will Collar, little bit fortunate, I think. The ball came to him in the box, very heavy first touch, and it sort of bounced to Wootton, who knocked it back to him, and then he smacked it in. 3 minutes later, Kyle Wootton got his goal. That was a cross, I think, from Collar, actually. Yeah, it was a cross from Collar. And Wootton stooped, bit of a diving sort of header past the goalkeeper. And we continued to create plenty of chances, look very assured. We were defending really high up the pitch. I mean, I think our average positions for our central defenders, certainly in that first half, are probably going to be maybe even in their half, to be honest. They had no pace. They were a typical non-league team, Dan. They looked like they had a bit of skill, but I presume they're part-time, playing in the National League North. Or was it South, actually?
No, North.
Is the North. Okay,
Yeah.
then. And yeah, they had a number of players who maybe carrying a few pounds, maybe, as you sort of tended to get. I mean, we had players like that when we were playing down there. Very good technically, good footballers, maybe journeymen, but perhaps not athletic like we had. And yeah, it was a very easy first half. Not much more to say. You listened on the radio, didn't you, Dan? So
Yeah.
what was John saying?
We just felt we were in control of it. We felt that this game was 2-0. It felt like it was going to be 4-0, and we were just stuck in second gear, massively in control, dictating the play. There was no threat at all, to be honest. And then, like you say, half time comes, and we changed at half time, and I don't know what was said at half time, but it just seemed to be a different Stockport County set of lads that came out for the second half.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely took our foot off the gas. Certainly in the first half, the midfield, so Norwood, Camps, Bailey, and Collar. So between those four, and then obviously linking up with Wootton as well, Brackley just could not handle them at all. Maka had quite a quiet game. Torre was good, but he didn't get that far forward. But I don't think we really needed to, with the way that Bailey and sort of Collar were buzzing around anyway. But yeah, you're right. Second half came, chance maybe for them to reset, a chance for their manager to say, look, do you want to stay in this tournament? I don't know how many games they will have played to get through, but I'd have thought, 4
or 5, I think.
Yeah, maybe came in at the third qualifying round, maybe.
Yeah, so I think 4 or 5 games to get to that round 2. And the same again, it's not trying. It's their big day out. Let's be absolutely honest about it. And then I say the first half, listening to it, they hadn't done themselves any justice. So yeah, expected a reaction, but so should everybody else expect a reaction. If you're in the county team, you know that they're going to come out, hustle and bustle for the first 10 minutes, and might have to weather a storm, but it's down to us to sort of like see out that first 10 minutes and start dominating the game again.
We did make a couple of substitutions, which I'd like just to throw in the mix. So Tanto came on for Wootton, and then Fevrier came on for Collar, and from the first 10 seconds of the second half, you could tell it wasn't just them putting a bit more effort in, like Brackley putting more effort in. We lost our shape when those two players went off, and it really does highlight. Again, I mean, we've said this quite a few times now, Dan. I feel like I'm a bit boring people, but Collar and Wootton are so important to the way that we play.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, we've been big fans of Wootton. We're not saying it's about goal scoring, but what work he does for that team and holding up the ball and offering an outlet and chasing everything down. It is a worry because God forbid if he picks up an injury and he's out for a few weeks, I don't think we haven't got that player in that squad at the moment that can do the job that Wotton does. And Collar as well, same we notice when he's not there that that's somebody that's running between the lines. He's got that Jim Gannon-esque of ghosting in the box. He picks up the ball, he finds the ball, he puts it in the back of the net, and you think, where's he come from? And it's a habit, and it's a lovely habit, and it's a good habit, but he's getting really, really good at it, and you can see, I think at the start of the season it was talked about him playing a little bit further up the field, and he's playing, like you say, behind that front man, and he for me he makes a big difference, and he offers us a different threat than what Louis Barry does if he's on the opposite side of him.
We don't have we don't have a Will Collar replacement in that team. If you look at any of the other players, they're all completely different. So the players that we have brought in when he hasn't played, or even half time against Brackley, it's a Fevrier, it's a Diamond that tends to come on. Maybe Tanto has played on that right side of the attack as well, but none of them use the ball as intelligently as Will Collar. None of them take positions sort of around the edge of the box like him and makes those late runs into the box, almost Frank Lampard-esque, I would say. And it's not fair to compare them because they are completely different players, Fevrier and Diamond, and you wouldn't expect them to do that. I think the one player maybe that I'm slightly disappointed with, maybe, and a few of the fans around me as well, is Fiorini. I think he was the player that we maybe thought would challenge Will in that sort of forward attacking midfield role, but it's not quite happened. So he came on. Well, let's talk about the Brackley goal first. I've got a little clip for this, and then we'll have a little bit of a chat about it.
Stockport winning all the loose balls. Let's play back to the goalkeeper by Connolly. What has he done? It is a foothold for Brackley.
So this is divided opinion, isn't it, on social medias? On social media, sorry. There's only one social media, I think. I don't know. Anyway, so it's divided opinion. I was absolutely adamant that it wasn't Adai's fault. And I'm going to stick with that and say I don't think it was Adai's fault. I think his little stutter, do you know that sort of trying to catch a pigeon run that he did at the very end? Do you know what I mean? When you sort of try and catch a pigeon, you sort of...
Hold on. Why do you go try and catching pigeons?
You must have seen people trying to catch pigeons, surely.
No. I mean, to be honest,
you'll see loads of people doing that sort of run where they're like that. Someone's going to click that up, aren't they? I can see it
when
now.
you live on the coast in Suffolk, you're trying to avoid the seagulls. Never mind catching pigeons. You're defending yourself from. The seagulls around here will take away small children and little dogs. They're ruthless. So yeah. On the radio, I think JK and Sam Byrne were very much putting the blame at Connolly's feet. The pre-match interview, I think that Challoner was saying again, putting the blame at Connolly's feet. Me personally, after watching it, I think it's a little bit of 70-30, 70% Connolly, 30% Adai. I think I don't understand why Adai's just not tried to put a foot through it and kick it out for a corner or something like that.
But it wouldn't be a back pass. Surely, if he had sort of dived and pushed it round the post, you can't. Surely a referee. There must be some. I've not looked at the rules, but there must be something in the rules that say if it's going to go. I don't know. What would the rules say? Actually,
I think it's just a controlled pass, or it doesn't. I mean, if you watched the Chelsea game earlier on with Aston Villa, it wasn't even they had one. It's a back pass where the goalkeeper picked up, and it was just literally the defender controlling the ball, stopping the ball, and it just rolled towards the keeper, and he picked it up, and the ref gave a back pass.
Maybe it would have been though, but I mean,
You can defend
rather
that.
give a free kick away and rather than I mean, at the end of the day, he had. I mean, I timed it, okay, because I'm really sad at things like this. So the angle, the camera angle was pretty crap on it. Let's face it. So you can't see where Adai started from, but his starting position generally was around 20 yards out. 2 or 3 yards away from the 18-yard box. So I timed it, and from the moment that Callum Connolly kicked the ball back to it going into the net was 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when
so you have got to, in those 4 seconds, you've got to make up 20 yards. You got to turn. And you're probably also thinking, can I cut it out slightly to the side? So if he'd run slightly to his left, could he have cut it out? He then thought, oh, sugar, no, I can't. So he's then running back. So he was always sort of chasing it, wasn't he? I think, as I say, the problem was at the end, maybe he could have slid with his legs and just tipped it around the post.
And it seemed the ball, when it hit the grass, it's because it sort of chipped up in the air. When it hit the grass, it span forwards, it ran away. It sort of picked up a little bit of speed as well. So same again, you look at the kick that Connolly's done, you're reading the flight of the ball in the air, and then as soon as he's hit the ground, you think, oh, this is going a bit faster than I thought it was. So I think that might have caught him out as well. Like I say, I think they both got a little bit of putting their hands up and a bit of blame.
But massive thumbs down to the fans in the Cheadle end that started singing for Ben Hinchliffe after that goal went in.
I'm not surprised. I unfortunately, I'm not surprised with it. I don't think it's needed. I don't think it's wanted. It is what it is, unfortunately.
And it completely changed the game, to be honest. I mean, they came, after that, for the next 25 minutes. I mean, we did make a couple of subs as well. So we brought Teo Adaramola on for Maka, and then Lewis Fiorini came on for Oliver Norwood. And even before then they had some chances. And then when we took Ollie Norwood off, we went, I don't know whether JK would have said this, but we went to a single man in midfield. We had Callum Camps as this lone midfielder, and Fiorini was pushed right up, okay? And they broke through us a couple of times. And one of them, special mention, Ibu Toure, okay? So he was playing at right wing back at this point. And their guy was straight through on goal, straight through on Adai. And Toure must have made up 10 yards on him coming from like the right wing back position. He came and he slid in, took the ball cleanly. And that was a goal saving tackle. And I turned to Chloe and I said, he should be man of the match for that. It was an absolutely stunning tackle. And it's on the BBC highlights as well. But he did so well there to be switched on, and the pace that he had on him as well, like put the afterburners on. Stunning defending.
No, well, we've said this about Toure, and he's a steady Eddie this season. I would say if he carries on playing, he's going to be in contention for, like, say, a team of the year or a player's pick, because, like I say, he's not let anybody down at all, no matter what. And like I say, he's played in 3 or 4 different positions, right side, left centre back, full backs, wing backs. So yeah, I say, going back onto like the Corey bit, I, for all those that have not listened to the Liam Hogan interview, the Patreon members, and if you've not, then it's definitely worth going and having a listen. It's £3 a month, and there's lots of exclusive interviews coming on, some really, some absolutely fantastic ones we've got lined up. But in that interview with Liam Hogan, they talked about when things were getting a little bit heavy under Simon Rusk, and in a team meeting, Will Collins stood up and said that he's basically, when the crowd started getting on his back, he gets a little bit in his shell, and it doesn't help his performance. And you can see that with a lot of players, I think. And Corey's another one. I think when the crowd get on his back, you can see him just 6'8". He turns into 4'8". And he shrinks. And I think as fans, we talk about how good as we are as county fans and stuff like that. But I think at times we need to get behind these players. We know they're having a bit of a rough time, and instead of getting on their back, we need to sort of like lift them up a little bit. But and Toure's another one that, like I say, just going on that, he's another one prime example of last season struggled at times. Dave Challoner mentioned that he played him out of position that he wasn't comfortable with. Now he looks very comfortable in that left centre back position when he plays in that. And now we're starting to see the benefits of Toure, and he's a valuable member to the squad. And going forward, I still think that'll be the same with if Corey Dye or some of the others that haven't hit the ground running this season. At some point, they will play a part in this season, and they'll play a massive part.
No, here, I agree. Got to support the boys, definitely. So they had a goal disallowed for offside. I've watched it back. Again, the camera angle is not great because you can't see the guy who is offside when the shot was taken. But I think he was coming back from an offside position by judging by how his body was moving. Obviously, Corey made a save and it sort of popped out to him, didn't it? I think, and then he smashed it in. But I thought that was going to 2-2 at that point, and I was so relieved to see the linesman's flag. And in fairness to the Brackley fans, they were pretty noisy. I reckon, in fact, the attendance wasn't read out by Ken, so I can't tell you how
400, something like 390, I think.
Yeah, I would have guessed
just about the 400 mark.
I'd have guessed that, and they all congregated at the back of their two tiers in the pop side. So and they made a decent bit of noise. They didn't have a lot to shout about, so it was a shame for them when that goal was disallowed, but obviously not a shame for us. And then after that, well, we continued to toil a little bit, and then Tanto scored. It was an amazing move, really. So Callum Camps from the centre of the pitch played a lovely slide rule ball from the centre down the left to Teo, who's just got plenty of pace. His defensive output needs to be worked on. He's only a young kid. And Dave, I'm sure, and Clint will definitely help with that side of things with him. But attacking wise, you cannot complain because this guy is absolutely rapid, and he's got a little trick in him as well. So he just ran straight past his fullback, and you just seen Tanto making an amazing run through the middle. He just thinking, find him with a ball. And he played a beautiful ball across to the back 6-yard spot. Tanto slid in, bang, back of the net, and that was game over. There were 3 minutes of injury time. Nothing really happened in injury time, and obviously that third goal really took the stuffing out of them. And in the end, a deserved 3-1 victory, but one we should have done really, playing against a team 3 divisions below us. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it before with Tanto, when he hasn't got time to think of the ball and he has to naturally instinct, then, I think he scores it. As we know, if he's got time to think or, time to control the ball and then put it in, then he tends to sometimes fluff his lines a bit. But like you say, a total, for me, that goal was an instinct goal, a predatory goal.
He also looked a lot more like himself as well. So I criticised him when he came on as a substitute in one of the other games recently, saying he just wasn't moving particularly well, but he looked a lot more on it, I thought. So maybe he was carrying something a couple of weeks ago, and he's managed to shake that off. But I mean, we say that it was an instincts goal, and it was, but did you see the Leyton Orient Oldham highlights, Dan?
Is this the goalkeeping header in the last minute to take it into extra time?
Mate, it wasn't just that. It was, I mean, like Oldham's striker missed from a similar position, but probably 2 yards out instead of 6 yards out. And there were the goals disallowed. The header from the goalkeeper, it was, I mean, like Woods would have been proud of it. It was a stunning header, like glanced into the far side of the goal. But no, I think it's 4 minutes long. BBC highlights. Make sure you watch them. They are like really good. I mean, I watched them with Chloe, and she was like, "What on earth is going on?" It's the magic of the FA Cup. That's what it is.
Yeah. So just to give a little bit more on Tanto, that was 90 appearances, and he's got 29 goals. So he's a 1 in 3 goal scorer. So, like I say, not the top echelons are the 1 in 2, 1 goal every 2 games. If you get more than that, I mean, I think Louis Barry's on 23 goals in 40 appearances now. But yeah, like you say, 29 goals in 90 appearances. So like you say, I don't think that's a bad return for a player that, like you say, still young, still finding his feet. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with that sort of output, to be honest.
Yeah, and as I sort of alluded to at the start of the podcast, we are. It looks like we've signed this Icelandic, or we will be signing this Icelandic player as well, which has sort of been rumored to be happening from the Icelandic media. But I spoke to somebody at the club, and no names, can't give away sources or anything, but it does look like he will be signing.
Are you on first name or last name terms with them? Are you on first name or last name terms?
I couldn't possibly say.
I'm
I'm not going to kiss and tell, put it that way. And if you ignore Wikipedia as well, because Wikipedia's got him at 5'7". Apparently he's 6 foot plus. So
yeah, I'd looked. There is a YouTube video of some of his goals on there.
what's his name? I can't remember his name. It's like a long Icelandic name that's going to cost a fortune to put on the back of your shirt.
But for me, he reminded very similar to what Ian Moore was as a forward striker player.
Yeah.
Just the way he run, his body stature and stuff like that. So when I watched it, I'm thinking this lad looks like Ian Moore.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, we've said it before. It shows that the club are proactive. We shouldn't be surprised by it. You look at the amount of the signings that came in the summer that said, well, they came in for me in January. There was talk around Christmas time with the club. So for them to be doing that now, no surprise.
Has the Icelandic league finished now? Is this one of the countries that plays random months because it's really cold in the winter?
It really dark, yeah. I believe so. Yeah, I think their season finished a few weeks ago. So, yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say is that with obviously yesterday's game, are we all saying now that Michael Mellon has burnt his bridges as such, and he'll be going back to Burnley? Because I thought that would have been a perfect game for him to start, to be honest, and try again. And we didn't see anything of him really, did we? So
again, you don't know whether he picked up a little bug and maybe he was suffering as well. But yeah, it's a good point, and you would think that if we have got another forward coming in, and this is going to be the way that we're going to make our money. We're going to have to get young players in, maybe from all around the world, certainly around Europe, and speculate on them, and hopefully we can build them up and we can sell them for decent money. We're never going to be able to sustain a football club in the upper echelons of the Championship or even Premier League if we do a Luton, but we're never going to be able to do it based upon our gate receipts, based upon merchandising and match day revenue. It's just not going to be enough. You need to be buying players at sort of this sort of age and then selling them for probably 7 figures, so 10 million quid upwards. But as you've said in the past, Dan, if we can get to the Championship, immediately the player that might have been worth 5 million in League One is now 10 to 15 in the Championship. So
yeah, I mean, like saying, and it's Simon Wilson said this before. A League One valuation on a player is nearly double, 3 times what a League Two one is.
yeah.
And as you go up the levels, then the price of them, the price tag do jump up massively on them as well. So yeah, there's a lots there. It is exciting. There's some players, but there's no science to it. Same again. Sometimes players come in and it just doesn't work out for them. It doesn't mean they're a bad player. It just means that at that moment in time, opportunities, illnesses, the team, it just doesn't work out, and they'll move on to another club. We've seen it with our own eyes with Louis Barry. We look at when we got him on loan last season, all the Salford fans were saying, "Well, he doesn't do nothing. He's a waste of money." And Swindon fans were saying, "He's useless." And MK Don fans, and he shut them all up. And then, he won't be able to do it in League One, and he's shutting all them up. So let's enjoy it. It's down to the players at the end of the day. All I would say is that as fans, we just need to get behind and support them, regardless who puts the shirt on. If you like them or not, but whilst they've got the shirt on of County, then we need to get behind them.
I mean, by all means, have your opinion down the pub. If you don't think a player's ripping up trees, have a chat with your mates about it. If you have to, even put it on social media. I wouldn't choose to do it. But yeah, not at the game, not at the ground, not when they're playing. And as you say, they've got the shirt on and they're trying their best. So yeah, okie dokie then. So man of the match was Callum Camps, and I think that was well deserved. It could have, I think if Collar or Wootton had stayed on the pitch, instead of playing 45 minutes, one of those two would have probably got it. But yeah, Camps played the whole 90 minutes, and he just slots in. It's what he does. He's so comfortable on the ball. He linked up beautifully with Norwood as well. And when they were playing as a two, just like Bate and Norwood have played as a two, they bossed the midfield. They completely controlled it, and Brackley had no response. I mean, in fairness, Brackley had come to set up very defensively and try and hit us on the break. But when you got two forwards that have no pace, I'm not quite sure how. Well, I think it was either that or set pieces, wasn't it? I think someone had said that they'd scored 19 goals this season. I think it was Dave. 13 of them had been from set pieces. So we did limit the number of set pieces that we gave them, in fairness. They had a long throw as well, but he didn't do that much. And then, we saw the game out. So all good stuff, eh?
Yeah, well, I say it's 3-1 might look like it was a flattering scoreline. We made hard work of it in that second half. They stepped up. They went up a gear and we went backwards a gear, and that's all it takes to, for an upset to happen. We sort of dug in deep, a little bit of resilience, and we got over the line, which is the main thing. And like you say, we will sit down and wait for 7 o'clock to come along on Monday evening to see who we get. Like you say, we all hope we get a big tie. Knowing our luck, we'll end up with Wickham. Being the county way, but we go into the hat, and we hope that it's not someone like Martin Keown that's picking the balls out, because we won't get nothing off him.
Well, why did you say that?
Well, I just there's certain presenters, or players that are going to be pulling the balls out, and you think you look.
Who would you like to be pulling your balls, Daniel?
I don't know. Well, I'm not going to comment.
No.
I'll never work for the BBC otherwise. But yeah, no, it is, and as we all know, the program's meant to start at 7 o'clock. It'll probably be 25 past 7 before they do the draw. There's going to be a lot of build up to it, knowing our luck that own goal will be shown on a little highlight reel. Just to sort of rub it in. But like I say, there's 64 names in the hat. 44 of them are Premier League or Championship clubs. So,
do you know whether every team sends a representative for the third round? Because the camera sort of zooms in on random people, doesn't it? Sometimes it's like, if it's the Hayes and Yedding manager or whoever the lowest league team is, they tend to be there, don't they?
The draw's at Old Trafford, isn't it? So it's more than feasible that you'd expect maybe someone from the club to be there as a representative, because it's not that only down the road. But yeah, like you say, you normally get the chairman of the lowest team that's left in the competition sat there waiting, for Man United.
Fingers crossed. And you get someone like Wickham away, like you just said, and they're like, "Oh no!"
And they bring 300 fans along, and you're thinking that, Man United, this is our payday. This is going to fund the club for the next 10 years. And it's that in itself can be quite entertaining, watching the it's like the Oscars, in it, when they go nominated and they go around the room, and then the person that didn't win it, they put the camera straight on there for their reaction, and it's rather of really sadness or disgust or that they didn't win. So but we're in the hat. We got through that. That's the main thing. Hopefully we get a good day. I'm sure that lots of county fans will be looking at social media and seeing who we got coming up.
Yep. Top 6 Premier League side, home or away, will do me just nicely. Thank you. Okay, let's put the FA Cup to bed and let's talk about the league. So we are playing Birmingham on Wednesday night. Do we know how many we're taking with us?
Have we not sold out our allocation?
I'd have thought we would have done, but do we know how much that is? 3,000-4,000 maybe? Or
I thought it was 1,800, but I might be wrong. I know I'll have a look.
That's a bit stingy, isn't it, from Birmingham? Only 1,800 away fans.
Well, let's have a look. Are we talking?
Okay, well, as you look, I will talk Birmingham. So, yeah, Birmingham are 3rd in the league. We're 4th. They've played 2 games less than us. We played 17 games and they played 15. And they're currently 3 points ahead of us on 33 points and we're on 30. So it is a proper Russ Johnson 6-pointer because we're challenging each other for promotion this season. So, yeah, if we win that, we go level on points with them. If we lose it, we go 6 behind them, which is going to be a bit more difficult to make up. But, I mean, we've got a very similar goal difference. They've got plus 13. We've got plus 12. City have got plus 3. So Man United on plus 4 have got a better goal difference than City, which must be the first time in 9 years or something like that, which is quite funny. Sorry, I keep on going back to City. But in fact, I've got a theory about City. So I think if so with all these financial charges and fair play, all that's the 120 charges against them, I think that they should be relegated to the 9th tier, okay, of the Football League. And then that would, every time they played one of the 9th tier teams, that would like set them up for life, wouldn't it? Yeah. Play Man City, home and away. Yeah, give a bit of back to grassroots football, and then the 8th tier. Obviously, they get promoted, then the 8th tier and the 7th tier. So all these teams, they can probably help 100 teams along the road getting back to League One or wherever they'll end up in the end. So yeah, that's what I think should happen.
So looking at the Birmingham ticket situation, we were given an allocation of 2,227. And looking at the county website as we speak on a Sunday afternoon, there is still tickets available for Wednesday. I'm not a dot counter, but I reckon there's probably 30, 40 tickets left available.
Why do you reckon that is, Dan? I'm amazed that we've not. Do you think it's because it's a Wednesday night?
And it's Birmingham. I mean, let's be absolutely honest. It's Birmingham. It's a shithole. You know, it's as simple as that. It's not. It's
the biggest ground in the division, though, is it not?
Yeah, but it's not like it's St Andrews in it with a bit of cladding on it. It's not for me. It's a horrible ground to go to.
Are you going, Dan?
No, I'm not going to go.
Okay.
Like I say, I know you guys are going on the coach. Anyone that's driving
Edgeley Con Club coaches, and I said it first time. Easy. Edgeley Con Club coaches. Edgeley Con Club coaches. Oh, I messed it up for the 3rd time. But yeah.
I know some Norwich City fans that went last season and they ended up going back to their car that was parked on a road with missing the bumper and the lights and the rear bumper and other bits of body as well, where they just stripped it on the roadside for parts. So
well, you put me off driving, so that's why I am on the coach with Edgeley Con Club coaches.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the money to go on the coach. But yeah, no, for me, like I say, Wednesday night, Villa are also playing at home. So if you are going to go on train and stuff like that, then it's going to be very busy at them sort of choke points where a lot of fans will get meet up and stuff. So be safe, be careful, and like I say, hopefully it will be a good night. I think this is one of them games where Dave Chandler will go back to his team selection for the Burton game, obviously minus Horsfall. But I think this might be just a tactical genius game. I just feel that he's going to a little tweak somewhere to nullify their big threats, or for us to sort of really push on a weakness that he's seen. And
you can definitely get at them. I mean, they concede goals. They've averaged 1 goal conceded per game, obviously. They've conceded 15, but I think they're danger men. What we're thinking, so Alfie May, striker, Jay Stansfield. So Alfie May scored 5 with 3 assists. Stansfield scored 7, just the 1 assist. And then they've got a Japanese player, haven't they? Iwata, who I believe is playing well. So he's got a FOTMOB rating of 7.6. So he's their highest rated player. But I was looking through like all the valuations, and I mean, FOTMOB is quite random, isn't it, when it comes to valuations of players? But there aren't many less than £1 million in their side from a valuation point of view, and we know they've spent a lot of money as well. So, and Louis Barry is going to be 155% up for this game, being an Aston Villa fan and everything. So he will do everything in his powers. I think there'll be a bit of spice in this game. I think there'll be a few tackles flying in. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's going to be loud. It's going to be raucous. It's hopefully we keep our heads and we just play football. I think if we play football and we play with tempo and purpose, and
the pitch is going to be good, Dan, isn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, like I say, it's not like going to Burton or somewhere like that where the pitch might be a little bit suspect, but it's not. On the head-to-head, we've played them Birmingham 41 times previously. Out of them 41 times, County have won 13. We've drawn 5. We've lost 23, scoring 44 goals and conceding 71. So, all them stats are in their favour. I think the last time we played them was you're going back to 2001. When we last played Birmingham, which would have been in the League Division 1, then at home on the 29th of December 2001, and we lost that 3-0, and we lost the leg at Birmingham in that season in August 2-1 as well. So it's a long time. We did play them obviously the season before. March 2001 at home, and we won 2-0. But yeah, last 5 games we've lost 4, won 1.
I can just remember playing them in the 1990s. So when Danny was manager, and we had Big Kev obviously, and he ended up. I mean, Barry Fry courted Kevin Francis for many years, didn't he? And he eventually got him. Sort of, I think it was 1996 that we ended up selling Big Kev, or 96, 96.
It was 800 grand, if I remember.
It was 800 grand, definitely 800 grand. Because I remember being on one of the very first message boardy things. I was at university. It was like an email thing, and I actually made up a transfer rumor. First time I'd done it, I felt really naughty afterwards, but I did it, saying that Birmingham were going to buy Kevin Francis. Didn't have a clue. And like 3 weeks later, they actually bought him, and it was like, oh, that was lucky. But anyway, yeah, I was at university then, so it must have been 1996.
Yeah.
But his knees were gone, weren't they, by that stage? So I think we got the better value out of him. Put it that way.
He did, but I still think one of the games that I always remember with Kevin Francis was actually him playing in a Birmingham shirt against Chelsea, and I think I'll give Chelsea the back line of real, and I think they had like World Cup winners and stuff like that in their defence, Chelsea at the time, and he really gave them a good battering. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird one as well, because we talk about this away fixture, but within weeks, New Year's Day, we play them again at home in the league. So it's one of them ones where I wouldn't be surprised if we lose this one 2-0, and then we end up going beating them at home on New Year's Day 2-0.
Yeah.
But
so is that your prediction then, Dan? No.
If you'd said, here's a point for a draw, take it now, I'll take it and put it in my pocket and run without doubt. I'll take a point now for it. Away game, take a point.
I'd take a point. Definitely, I'd take a point. I hate thinking my team is going to lose, but the pessimistic side of me, sorry Andy and sorry Waggy, whenever we come against these really big or so-called bigger sides, I do think we're going to lose. But I'm going to go super positive for me, and I'm going to say we're going to win 2-1. How about that?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I'm very much between now and Wednesday, my mind will flip-flop if we're going to win it, draw it, and lose it. And I could be sat in my seat, the whistle goes, and think I'm going to lose it, and then watch the first 5 minutes or the first couple of minutes, how we play, how we settle, how we knock the ball about, and I go, we're not going to get beat. It's one of them really for me. But yeah, like I said, I'll take a point. Anything more than a point is absolutely fantastic. But same again, if we lose, it's not the end of the world. Even if we lose, get stuffed at times. And I think it's a bit of a weird one, is losing 4-5-0 better than losing 1-0 at times. Because we've seen with Wickham, if we'd lost that game 2-1 Wickham instead of 5-0, would we have got the response we got against Bolton and against Wrexham?
No, I think Dave is particularly adept at turning a big defeat, you're right, into a positive. I'd love to see stats on that, but I think whenever we've had large defeats, I've always, well, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking we've gone on a little bit of a run after that. So he must have some good sort of psychological stuff going on to be able to get the players to ignore that and use it as a positive, I guess, and come out anyway. Cool. Anything else you want to say, Dan, or shall we wrap it up there?
No, that's it. Like you said, you've mentioned before, there'll be no Wednesday show because everybody will be tuned in. Obviously, because it's on a Wednesday, then it'll be on Sky Sports Plus. So for people to watch on there, if you're not going to the game itself. So yeah, everyone will be tuned in on that. And then obviously Russ and Waggy will be back Thursday evening to cry or cheer about the Wednesday offerings.
And I'm sure they'll also be talking about the FA Cup draw. Well, if it's a top 6 side home and away, if it's Wickham, maybe they won't. Cool. Okay, then. Well, we'll wrap it up there. Cheers, Dan, and I will see you soon, mate. Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Scarf Bagara War. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Remember, you can catch us every week on your favourite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. And a huge thank you to all of our Patreon members. Your contributions help keep the show running to bring the content you love. If you'd like to support the podcast and get access to exclusive special guest episodes, ad-free podcasts and a monthly giveaway, head over to patreon.com/the Scarf Bagara War. And don't forget to follow us on social media for updates, behind the scenes content and more. You can find us on X, Facebook and Instagram, all at County Podcast. Lastly, if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a review and share it with your fellow County fans. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Scarf Bagara War. Come on, County!